I want to go back to something that you said earlier, kind of in passing, that it just struck me. You said that, in the past, that when you have sort of changed direction or needed like leadership insight, that you have sort of done that in a vacuum. But over this last year, you've really tried to invite contribution. You've been having these meetings, all these things. Talk to me about that. What are you learning about like co-creation, collaboration, as opposed to maybe, different ways that you have thought about leadership in the past? Just talk to us about that for a minute.
Well, I'll start by saying, after this past year, I said to myself, why didn't I do this earlier? Because this has been years of going and laboring, and you have to understand, when I say a week, I go there. I always request. They don't do it as much as they used to, but I would request them to remove the TV out the room. Just me and God. I have just posted all over the walls and just writing and just hearing God, and normally would come down from the mountain with a vision and direction. But it would always be a challenge, because although I could see it, and although I had heard from God, sometimes it's hard for other people to really understand, to receive it, and then run with it. This time was different because, again, they were in the room the whole time. So as we prayed together. As we really brainstormed and thought through things, as everybody had a voice. There were even some of the process we voted on certain things that I had already written it down, but the conclusion they came up with was exactly what I wrote down. And so
Isn't that awesome? It's
oh
so
yeah,
good.
yeah. And so in doing so, it really just showed me that sometimes we actually are kind of like Moses, trying to carry the weight by ourselves, and really God has put so many incredible people around us who have just as much insight that can contribute to the process if we would learn how to collaborate. And so it was a lesson for me as well, because I had just been accustomed to doing it this way for so many years. It was just the rhythm I had in ministry. But this was really, to me, it was a breath of fresh air. It re-energized me. I told my church this year, this is my 26th year of pastoring, and I told them I have never been as excited about pastoring than I am right now. This is like, it's almost like this is my first year of pastoring. So it has recharged me. It really gave me a new sense of excitement. And so because it's not just me, there's a team of people who see it not as the pastor's vision. This is our vision. This is what God has given to us. And they really have taken ownership of it as if it's theirs, like it is mine.
I just have to say, at the IC Conference 25 this year, this Better Together thread you're talking about, this is actually Jesus' design of leading is together, is awesome. And if any of our listeners weren't there, you need to be there in 26. Shameless plug for a minute there. Carlos, I want to ask you, because some of our listeners, what you're describing, it was kind of, I believe, a generational way or expectation that was placed on the lead pastor, a responsibility almost, that it is your job to go up on the mountain, and you literally went on the mountain to hear from God and then come back down and lead the people. That is a very commonplace thing. I think it's becoming lesser in the younger generations. But if we have a listener who's a lead pastor right now who's in that same position where they're just running that same play that you were, how would you advise them to enter this transition, and why? Because I hear the energy. We can hear the energy in your voice when you're talking about an excitement about the church and where it is, but help some of our listeners that may not be there, that are still in kind of that grind of the responsibility of it all.
Yeah, I would say, one of the things that when we selected our steering team, these were not just obvious people. Um, what I did was I had my staff to make recommendations of individuals that they identified as faithful, people who were committed to the church, and people who had a life of integrity, that they submitted their names. And what I did is I prayed over the list and we just led on 14 individuals. And so what I would say is, one, in trying to build a team or a collaboration to move from doing or trying to gain vision within a vacuum, you got to make sure you bring the right people to the table too. Because I also saw through the process, if I didn't have the right people at the table, it also could have gone the other way. And so I think prayer must go into who do you sense God is leading to join you at the table. And I'm not saying it has to be people who are your yes people, because you don't need yes people at the table. You need people who have strong personalities, but also who are faithful and committed, and who will tell you the truth and be honest with you. You need those individuals, but you also just need people who really who are open to God, not closed-minded, and who are really really just sold out for the cause of Christ. And I would just say that's a big part of that process. And then also, it's all right. I would tell the pastor, it's all right to be vulnerable. It's all right not to have all the answers. It's all right to share your mistakes, your failures. There's sometimes things we have these bright ideas, but they don't work, and it's okay to admit it. And I think through vulnerability and honesty and transparency and praying through that process, working together, it literally helps bring people together, but also help to really make sure everybody understands it's a safe space to really share their true ideas and their beliefs. And I think that's how you get to that one place of getting to vision and really discerning God's voice within a room of people.